see that feeling of satisfaction.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are talking all about how do real twin flames financially support themselves. So this is from our perspective and twin flames that we know. Watch this video. All right, guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Serena.
And I'm James.
And we are Life After Union, two twin flames in union, helping you navigate your spiritual awakening journey, your conscious relationships, and your twin flame ascension. So, today we have a question that was recently kind of asked or brought to our attention, which I think we've addressed maybe like briefly in a few other videos, but we're really going to kind of dive into it today. And that's like, how do real twin flames support themselves financially? Like, what does it look like? And again, as you guys know, our channel name is Life After Union. So we're always giving you the perspective of our lives after union and what that looks like from a twin flame journey lens. You know, what are you doing as a twin flame after union? You know, and this is how do we support ourselves financially? So what's really interesting about this topic is, of course, as always, this is going to look different for each person and each twin flame pairing. I want to address, before we get into the video, one common misconception, which is that, so there's a lot in the twin flame like mythology or the twin flame ethos that twin flames will have a shared purpose. And while I believe that this is true, I don't always believe that this shows up in the aspect of career.
Agreed.
And I think that's why a lot of twin flames, you know, they have these grandiose ideas of like, oh, I'm going to get with my twin flame and we're going to run, you know, retreats and healing circles together, and we're going to, you know, merge. And I think especially maybe from the feminine point of view, because we tend to maybe be more of the spiritual ones, and then you guys the males tend to be more of the practical ones.
Yeah.
So there's this idea from like the romanticized version that like, we're going to team up together and we're going to create these amazing things. And while that is true, you will create amazing things together. That's not to say that that's not true. What I'm saying is it doesn't necessarily have to be in the place of career, right?
Or making money.
Or making money, right? Exactly. And so what's really important is you can have many shared purposes. And I always like to relay this to Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, and I talk about this all the time. There is two different purposes. There's your primary purpose, and then there's your secondary purpose. So your primary purpose on this earth is to awaken. And that is your shared purpose as twin flames, to heal and to awaken each other. So if you're on a twin flame journey, you're already making your shared purpose happen. Even if you're in separation, even if you're in conflict with your twin, your shared purpose is already coming into fruition because you're already learning, growing, healing, and ultimately awakening with your partner. Now, the secondary purpose that many people get confused about is like your vocation or what you devote your time or your energy or your passion towards. So maybe your day job is literally like online trading, but you love art. Like maybe your art, not everyone is meant to do their passion as their full-time career. Some people are, some people aren't. It just depends on the person and what you want to put your time and any energy into and what your beliefs are. So I feel like a lot of what twin flames are doing are breaking blueprints around what work and career also has to look like.
Well, I feel a lot of people try and make their primary and their secondary the same thing.
Oh, interesting.
Because they say, well, if my primary thing is to do a shared purpose with my twin flame, then that must be my secondary, because that's essentially like my career path or what you do to create your finance and things like that, where for some people it might be the case that those things do line up and it works out that way, and that's obviously fantastic. For some people it won't. I mean, even if you think of the two of us, this channel is by far your baby. I mean, there's no denial about that, or it's your baby. But we have the line path that I'm a part of it as well, and I'm still in it. But at the same time, I've also got my own company where I do contracting work, and that's my baby. Yeah. So the thing is, we we both have our individual things, but that doesn't mean that those two things can't align us to something down the line as well. And I feel that that's where a lot of people kind of get confused. We try to push everything into one small bracket instead of just being like, well, is this what I want to do with my life? Is this like something we're gonna share doing, or is our shared purpose, we have a child, or we decide we want to travel together, or whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be necessarily your career, and I think that's where a lot of people get lost in this.
Right. And your shared purpose could just be inspiring other people that you talk to. Like, it could be very broad and very general. It doesn't have to be we are doing X, Y, and Z together.
Yeah.
It can be anything. And I think what's also really interesting, talking about like the twin flame evolution, is it's likely that if you had a career or a vocation before the twin flame journey started, that will still in some respects be a part of your life after union story. Because I think about the both of us, and you have done many manual labor jobs, you've done many jobs in, a lot of hands-on
Everything.
type stuff, right? And a lot of that is now helping you in the work that you're doing now.
Completely. I mean, from all the jobs, from when I worked in the boats to the restaurant industry, learned to talk to people, to plumbing, to carpentry, to when I did brochure management things, it all builds up now to me running my company as well. And it's hugely beneficial. And that's the thing, is you've got to take all these things you learn throughout your life and use those for your actual number one primary objective in life, and the thing that you want to do. Doesn't mean that you have to do what I do and I have to do what you do, but we still align in the fact that, for one, we support each other in our individual things, and we support each other in our combined things. And I think that is a huge part of it, is that we actually, regardless whether we do it together or separate, there's that support, and that is our primary thing most of the time, is that we support each other no matter what the cost.
Wow, that was intense.
Thank you. I just got into it, okay?
And so, I mean, going back to the original thought process there, was, the idea that whatever it is you're doing maybe now is going to carry through into what you will be doing, or it might not even change. If you really love what you're doing now, you might want to continue doing that even after union, or even after the twin flame journey. Not that there's any after, you kind of die in it, I think.
It's ongoing.
But that being said, my example is I was a hairstylist by vocation for like 10 plus years. And the way in which I was thinking about this today, and the way in which it shows up for me now is that I can make these videos, and like it just benefits me personally, like the hairstylist background. Like, I can very quickly and easily do my hair so it looks presentable, put a little bit of makeup on, and like that beauty aspect changes the vibe and how our videos present just by me making myself up a little bit. And it doesn't come from a place of like needing to be beautiful or needing needing people to see me a certain way. It's purely practical of like, okay, this is what's generally socially acceptable. This is what I do to make myself feel the most confident. It's very practical in nature. It's not very emotional. But all those years of hairstyling, also the same as you, I learned to talk to people. I learned to be empathetic to people, to really get into the nitty-gritty of what it is they're feeling and what's coming up for them, because I talked to people every day, all day. And now that also plays into my career now, which is as a twin flame mentor, and making these videos. And now I get to share more of myself. I get to talk. I really mastered my communication in my job as a hairstylist. So there's aspects of that I still use every single day in my new vocation, in my new career path. And so there's so much that, will come into that. But I also want to focus back on, you guys are wondering, how do we financially support ourselves? And it's an ongoing, ever evolving thing. Because both of us in the last year have started basically new businesses.
Yeah.
Where for a time I was doing a little bit of hair, and then I was doing YouTube, and then I was full-time momming, and then I was back into YouTube. And so for me, the evolution of mom and then back into YouTube, that was like me starting a whole new company, because it was like a new vision, a new me, and everything like that. So that was like me starting my new company and investing in myself and my dreams and starting the group coaching and doing all of that kind of stuff. And you also opened a new business, which is your contracting business.
Yeah, and it literally is for both of us. It's everything we've learned in our lives and all the lessons, and it's everything combined to get us to this point. We've gone through all of those things, whether they're things that we learned that we use or whether the things we learned we didn't use. We have now come to a point where we understand what it is that brings us what we need, which ultimately also comes down to what it brings us financially, and that's knowing what we are worth and knowing what our value is and what we can actually bring to people, whether it be through the channel, whether it be in person with me doing my contracting work or whatever it might be, that it all comes together at the end and it actually makes us who we are and it helps us find a way to financially support ourselves.
Yeah. And I think you're touching on a really important part, which is if you are watching this and you are looking to understand, okay, how am I going to financially support myself after I kind of exit the 3D matrix and start aligning to my true soul's purpose? What you have to look at, which is exactly what you were saying, is your worth and what you believe you are worth. Because it's very likely that you are going to be breaking old patterns and old blueprints of how you think money must be attained. And a lot of that comes with working harder and working more hours and putting more hard work in. And this is actually the opposite of that. It's realizing your value first and then aligning to the jobs or aligning to the creation that you want to make, or so it's almost like you put it in the reverse, but that requires you to break down all those old belief systems and let those go and then create new belief systems. So it can be very scary because you actually don't know how it's going to play out. It's like that leap, like you take the leap and you just hope that you don't fall flat on your face.
And you might.
But when you are aligned with yourself and spirit, it's not likely going to happen. You're not going to fall on your face. And if an opportunity doesn't come that you thought was going to come, it's likely because there's something better out there for you.
And as well, like within life itself, there are going to be times where you're going to fall over, but it's how you get back up and keep moving to the next thing as well. And what you learn from when you fell, what was that created that? Was it something that you had done wrong? Was it something that just wasn't aligning with you? What created that moment? And learning from that experience in order to better yourself as you move forward into what your true aligned purpose may be.
Right. And I think another important thing to note on our journey specifically, because you guys really, I feel like you guys like to hear about us and like us specifically, where we can give a lot of good general advice for twin flames, but like our specific advice, I think helps in a completely different way. So that being said, you guys, we live incredibly minimalistically, okay? For what the most of Western world tells you you need to live off of, we live off a fraction of that, okay? And I'm going to give you an example. Our house that is still currently in the works of being finished cost less than $20,000 to build, okay? We run completely on solar. So our house is completely solar powered. We catch rainwater, like the way that we live is very unconventional for the modern person. And this is accessible to you, okay? Like if you look at this and you look at how it is to buy land and build a small house on that land, that's likely less expensive for a lot of people than, living in a city and paying rent. And your monthly bills would be a lot less. You also have to think we don't shop that frequently. Okay, so we're very minimalistic in our wardrobes. We're very minimalistic in our consumerism. And we have, like, you've kind of grown up this way.
Yeah.
But I have consciously created my life, not to say that one is better than the other, because it's not. It's just I had to learn, coming from a more Western civilization, I had to learn what my actual values were. And I also spent a time, coming from, overconsumption. I spent a time where I lived out of one bag. And when you live out of one bag or you're traveling a lot, you realize you don't actually need that much to survive, okay? Like most of what we think we need to survive are actually just comfort items.
Yeah.
And when you think about, okay, how am I going to support my lifestyle or my financial, so much of that is ego driven on what we think success looks like, what we think our value looks like, what we think it means to live a beautiful existence. But we spend the majority of our time outside. So we have an incredible amount of nature. We have an incredible amount of beaches and water and hiking and trees and forest and, right?
Just lots of natural beauty.
Lots of natural beauty. So our house is a very practical space for us. It's exactly the amount that we need, which I love this quote. Poison is, everything that's poison is more than what you need. Right? Yeah. So anything could be poison because anything in excess is poison. And so our house, I like to think of it as literally exactly what we need. We've got one bathroom. We have got basically one bedroom and a small room for Claire. We've got a lounge and we've got a kitchen. And like I said, our house is not fully finished.
Surprise!
There's no ceiling in this room. So yeah, and for a long time it was less than what we needed. Yeah. But when you think about, okay,
but it was still enough.
It was still enough. It wasn't very comfortable in a lot of ways, but we weren't lacking anything. Like it might have gotten a little colder than we would have liked. Sound might travel through the doors and we had to be really quiet while Claire was sleeping because we had no doors. So it might have not been comfortable in that way, but also when you think about that, $20,000 and we have a house. Not many people can say that, but you also have to think, I have an incredible blessing of being able to, be from the United States and transfer US dollars into a currency that's less than, right? So what would be possible in the United States isn't necessarily possible here, and what's possible here wouldn't be necessarily possible in the United States. So you of course have to take that with your personal situation, but know that if you are looking on how to live more sustainably and you're looking on how you're going to financially support yourself, you probably already want to be out of the system. Most people on this journey want to be out of the matrix. They want to be out of the system. So we're just here to say it is possible to live that way. And it is possible to create a lifestyle that you actually love, and that you actually thrive in.
Yeah, I mean, as well, if you want to live a simplistic life, you learn skills along the way. I mean, I'm very fortunate in most of the industries I've grown up in. Is I've learned how to do plumbing, I've learned how to do carpentry, I've learned how to do electrics. I have a broad spectrum of these things. So a lot of the stuff in our house, I don't necessarily have to pay somebody to do. I can do it myself, and I enjoy doing it myself, and it brings me pride working on my home.
Yeah.
And that in itself, what that does for the cost of living is massive. It drastically reduces. I mean, especially for me running a contracting company, I know the cost of, if I go to somebody else, what I charge them for something is a lot more than what I would pay, because I don't have to pay for the markup materials. I don't have to pay for the extra labor. There's a lot of things that come at a cheaper price because of the fact this is what I do, and the fact that I actually enjoy doing it. And that's a big part of it. You need to find out what you enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy doing things like this, then maybe bringing somebody out to do it, maybe then that opens a whole new door for you about something you might enjoy. Maybe you enjoy gardening, but you need to get to your house first so you can get into the garden. There's so many different ways of getting to where you actually want to and need to be, and you just need to do that for yourself, understand yourself well enough to find that path.
Yeah, and I think to further what you're saying, it's about making the conscious decision on where you want to put your time and your energy. And that doubles back to what we were talking about earlier with the self-worth and valuing yourself. Because when you truly see yourself clearly, you know what you're worth, you know what your value is, you don't have any qualms around paying something to do something that you don't want to spend your time doing. And you also don't have any qualms around putting in the hard work when that's what you enjoy doing, right? So it's like, it goes both ways, and it doubles back on itself, because you're making the conscious decision from a conscious place of, I could do this or I could do this. What do I want to do? You're not like,
what brings me the most?
Right. You're not driven by ego of like, oh, I have to do this myself because I have to prove something. And you're also not like, oh, I have to pay somebody because it might not look nice if I do it. Like, you're not driven by these like doubts or worries or fears. You're driven by like very practical, okay, what do I want to do? Like, where do I want to put my time? Where do I want to put my energy? And it's a very empowered decision.
Yeah, I mean, even with things I've done around the house, there's some things I've done that I've looked at and like, that's terrible. Like, what the hell was I thinking? But I have now learned from that, and I can improve on it. And if I myself still feel I can't do it, I can go chat to somebody who knows how to and learn from that in order to grow my experience in it as well. And it just comes down to what brings you the most, what drives you forward in every single moment, what brings you that feeling of satisfaction and gratitude towards yourself and what you have achieved and what you've accomplished. And if you can find that, the world is your oyster and nothing can slow you down. And if you allow yourself to use that as your passion, and if that's your passion that brings you money on top of that as well, it's limitless. It's quite literally limitless. You have no boundaries. You can do what you want and you can make a success of it as long as you believe in yourself and you put the work that you believe you need to put into it.
Yeah. And you guys have to keep in mind that where we're going in terms of the new earth is radically different than where we came from. Okay, we came from a place of like super automated, like very much cold and, you know, like mass produced. We're moving back. I don't want to say back because it's not back. We're moving forward into adding back in those principles of, you know, working off the land, sustaining ourselves, you know, being more self-reliant, not relying on these big corporations and all that kind of stuff. So with that means don't undervalue any skill that you have. If you have a skill, use it. And if you don't know where that skill is going to fit in yet, that's okay. It doesn't have to all make sense right now. Yeah. You just need to know, okay, these are the skills I have. And when the time is right, they're going to reveal themselves to be valuable in the way that they're meant to be.
Damn straight.
So that's how we live out here in South Africa in the country. And if you want to know more, let us know, comment down below, and let us know, what are you doing in your career? What do you want to change to do? What do you perceive yourself as doing?
What's your dream job?
Yes, exactly. What do you want to do?
You have to ask that. I ask that to my guys all the time.
Yeah, what's your dream?
Find out what it is.
Yeah, 100%. What are your dreams? What do you want to be doing? I've had this one piece of hair like tickling my back this entire time and I can't get it. But what do you want to be doing? Where do you want to go with your life? And put it in the comments down below, because when you put this stuff to pen and paper, when you actually voice it, it actually becomes so much stronger. And that being said, what also becomes so much stronger is your ability to manifest what you want to manifest when you work in a group of people. So that being said, if you're looking to make 2025 your year of inner union, of awakening, of finally pushing past all the blocks, all the wounds that are coming up on your journey, join us in Twin Flame Path to Awakening Round 2. We've made some major upgrades on this program. I'm so excited to launch it with you guys. It's beginning April 25. So, not April 25, April 2025. So get your applications in now. Begins the beginning of April. And yeah, you can apply down below. There's all the information that you need. And we'll review your application. Just know it takes us some time to get through all the applications. But we're doing first come, first served. 8 spots only available. So apply now. And we will see you inside. Thank you so much for watching this video. And we will see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.